perfect. I must have it.
Sadly, sir, you can't.
What do you mean can't?
It's illegal, sir. This fish is protected by the great state of California.
Give me it.
You know, first of all, we are doing this for her, okay? Because neither one of us wants to get divorced. And secondly, I know you're the big marriage experts. Oh, I'm sorry, I forgot. Your wife is dead.
Oh, they've got a class on how to write jokes.
Oh, don't take that. I dropped it after the lesson on setups. The professor is so old.
It's the Al Travis Show. We've got him, Senator Aric Putnam, and I got to think folks don't understand that. You're kind of like in the old joke farmers. You know, once they get the 2 weeks, they plant everything, then they take the summer off, then they harvest. I think legislators get the same thing. Oh, they work there 5 months. They're all home doing nothing now. How you doing nothing? How's doing nothing working for you, Senator?
Well, so here's the thing. Like, I think there are some folks out there who actually do nothing.
Okay.
But there are others who do. I mean, there's some who don't work during the session either. So it's
you said that. I did not. Don't hold that on me. But
it's true.
If you don't mind us throwing, maybe it'll help, maybe it won't. I don't know. You're on your way to a nonprofit organization. You want to throw out what you're doing here? I mean, you're already up and running first thing in the morning. Where are you heading? What's going on?
So I'm at a gig for an organization called 180 Degrees, and they're a homeless youth shelter that's in St. Cloud and Rochester, and I think they've also got one in the cities. But they do some pretty cool work. And in St. Cloud, they're right. You'd never know where they were. They just have a house. It's a residential place. They're taking care of kids. It's pretty sweet. So this is my dedication to you and to democracy, is that right now I'm sitting in the parking lot outside the event, and I'm missing wet eggs and ancient muffins because I'm skipping the breakfast part to hang out with you.
Aric, God love you, my friend. So 180 Degrees, you call it? Is there a way if someone could look it up online and help donate if they like helping kids?
That would be a delightful thing. That would be an awesome thing.
Are they online? Do you know?
They are.
Do you know if
they're
okay? So 180. Okay, 180 Degrees. Look it up, St. Cloud. I thank you for doing that, sir. How do you rate the session? All said and done. You're prof. How A to D? Can you give yourself an F? What do you think?
Well, it's tough. So I would say for me and my community, I would say probably B minus C plus. But don't forget, I'm at a private school, so that's a real D.
Okay, now that's comedy, my friend. That's sad that you look at it like that, because what gets to me is once you get done, both sides start spiking a football. I find this just flipping remarkable that everybody won everything. I haven't heard one person say, wow, we screwed that thing up yet, and then you come out with a C grade. That's at least honest, because there's not a lot. Now, let me throw it out to you. When we went into session, no new taxes. Well, we got some new taxes. Now, it might just be on cannabis, and that doesn't bother Al a whole lot, but it's taxes. So I think we got to stop putting lines in the sand. Unemployment insurance. And again, I'm just going from the rights point of view. We're going to get rid of that unemployment insurance for teachers or janitors and people who work at schools get paid hourly. We're getting rid of that. Well, we'll get rid of it in a couple of years, but it's going to go away. I can't say that that's a win if that's what you really care about. Minnesota Care for folks who are here undocumented. Okay, we're that isn't happening. Unless the governor says, well, except for kids, we're not going to throw kids off. Okay, that's fine. And I'm not saying we do. But C might just be the best because no one did anything they said they were going to do. You didn't knock this thing out of the park. Both sides.
That's a big part of the way why I graded it the way it did, is that although, I mean, he could say if legitimate compromise were reached, then it should be an A. But I don't think what we did was a lot of legitimate compromise. I think what we did is we got scared and then we bailed. Like, oh, that's controversial. Nah, I'm not going to work on that. That's going to take too much time. Let's let that roll.
No one had the gumption to say, no, I'll stand my ground on this because this is what I really believe. If it's no new taxes, we did not stop that. If it's the unemployment insurance, yes, we now all agree they shouldn't have it, but let's give it to them for a couple of years so they can, wean off it. Well, they just got it this year. It's not like weaning needs to be done. I would like this. Tell me when each side gets up and speaks, and this is the controversial, right? Minnesota Care for undocumented people. When the other side gets up, do you just tune them out? Because I had that, here's what, I had it on and a couple of things really struck me hard. Whenever the left was on, and they used this term a couple times to make the paper, 20,000 people will be left out to die. It got my attention because like, oh, good God, what? Then Al, being the mean guy that I am, think, well, they've only had the insurance since January. That I don't recall in December of last year, a lot of people lying around dying in the streets. There might be a little bit of a hyperbole. But when they start talking like that, I presume the Republicans are like, here we go again. And they, you know what I'm saying? No one listens when you start throwing stuff out like that. Am I wrong?
No, I think, and that's not just in the legislature. I think that's in among actual humans too. Like when you start talking about stuff and you get to the hyper dramatic, I think we tend to blow it off. And here's the counterpart, right? Because I'm on the other side of this one than you.
Yep.
And I want to be like, every now and then I have to be that crazy wacky liberal, or you won't have me back anymore. It's a good point. I mean, I'm here because of affirmative action. I know that. And you need a crazy wacky liberal. Is that when you're talking about the drama and some of the stories people are telling? When I hear Republicans say it costs $220 million every year, I know that's crap. Like that's just not true. Like I've seen the math. In 6 months, the state of Minnesota has spent $4 million on this healthcare. There is no way it's going to cost $220 million. But so when I hear numbers like that, that's hyperbole to me, and I blow that off.
And that's my point. Is I think you would as well, because at some point there's a line item. How much did you spend? Here's the check. Insurance is interesting, right? I've sent my payments in all year. I haven't used it yet because I haven't had the quadruple bypass yet, but I will at some point. The way I run my life, it's going to happen. That's what insurance costs up. But the one that I wanted to talk about is we get to the point where we get so wrapped up in ourselves and, I can make the point even better if that gal, what was her name? Representative her. I don't know if you caught her statement. It's just on in the background, and I catch it because she mentions her uncle, our great uncle, was from Laos and he worked for the CIA, and I'm like, ooh, this is going to be good. When it got my attention. She tells the whole story, and basically she says, I was illegal. I'm here illegally. You're going to take health care from me. And I looked at my TV and said, did she just say what I thought she said? Now, I go to bed because I got nothing else to do. I got the show in the morning. Next morning, you darn Republicans are taking my words out of context and turning. I'm like, swear to God, I just listened. I didn't do anything. And I presume and now I'm under the impression she has become a citizen. That isn't the point. My point being is the idea that, I'm going to throw him a story and it's going to and then it blows up in her face. Can we not just say whether it's right or wrong and what's the deal? You know what I'm saying? Did she overstep? Is it so inbred that I have to have, this will drive it home? She really hurt herself. National news.
Well, in general, I think she's a pretty good egg. I don't know a lot of people over in the house, but she's pretty smart and she's focused and she does work. But I think you're getting to a really good point, and there's a distinction between getting caught up in the moment and saying something kind of not really strategically wise, and then planning to say something that's crap.
Yeah.
Those are two. I make a distinction there, and I think a lot of what happened, especially around that issue, because that took a little bit longer on the floor than it should have. There was planning to say things that were probably not the best choice instead of just speaking and having it come out.
Tell me why, and I give Hortman and Murphy huge credit. As I understand how this went down, to get the big deal where all the powers that be can say they can do this, they all pinky swore, as I understand, that if it went on a party line to get it to work, the heads would vote to make it work. Even if it's against their side's objective, they said, we're going to make this thing fly. And they both did it, Hortman and Murphy. Congratulations to them. I don't know if I really like business being done like that. We'll force it. But that not being said, they had to do what they had to do. But here's what bothered me about it, especially with this issue, which was very contentious. We went in knowing what the results were going to be, right? We knew what this was. We'd agreed upon it. We're going to do this. Then the hours that took from whenever we started yesterday morning all the way till 2 a.m. was complete kabuki theater. I need an ad for my people when I run in 18 months. And that's what that stuff is. That's why I think her might have miscalculated, got a little too TV. Because otherwise, this was done, right? There was no reason for all the... When's the last time Aric Putnam sat in any of this and on any subject and said, oh, didn't know that, okay. Changing my vote. Does that happen?
No, you're right. I mean, it's not just special session. It's all the time. It's theater. Here's the thing. Please do say it out loud. Thank you. It's true though. It's true. So a member comes to me before a debate recently and says, we'd really like you to speak on this. I don't speak that often on the floor. I'll be as humble as I can be. I'm a hell of a speaker. I'm pretty good at this, and yet I don't speak very frequently on the floor because I only speak when it means something, and you don't plant seeds in concrete. So I don't see a whole big point in talking too much on the floor. And someone comes to me and they're like, we'd really like you to speak on this. And I was like, well, okay, talk to me about it. And we talked about it a little bit. And then I said, well, how many people do you have here on to speak right now? Because again, it's all coordinated, choreographed.
Oh, yeah.
And they said, oh, we only have 17. And I was like, there are only 34 of us in this caucus. That is already half of us. You're already talking about an hour and something. Like, I don't see that I would be saying something that was new and worthwhile when 16 other people have already talked.
See, that's the 20,000 that would die thing. One person says it might have went away, but it was one after the next. And I'm thinking to myself, if you're choreographing this, Aric, you take item A, Bobby, you take B, you take C. Let's each drive these 5 points. We're going home. Not all with the same bullet points. It just seems like the same presentation over and over again until you start talking about your uncle from Laos. But you get my point. It's like, it just drives me crazy. What a waste of everyone's time. And the other thing is why you guys are working until 2 a.m. We're already 3-4 weeks out, right? We're already late by 3-4 weeks. Could the governor not say, I'd like to call a special session? I think it's going to take about 18 hours looking at this bad boy, but we're not going to do them consecutive hours. That makes no one any good. We're going to do 10 hours on Monday. We'll clean up Tuesday starting at 8 o'clock. Why am I asking my state legislators to spend $66 billion when they're dead tired?
Yeah, well, so 2 things. One, like you said, like all the decisions are already made. And I can own up to this one. Special session was our fault. Like in terms of like the length of it, like my friends and neighbors, we spoke a lot more than perhaps we had to or need to. But there's 2 parts of it. One of it is this desire to create a story. It has nothing to do with the policy. There's a desire to create a story around the policy, and that's why people are talking. And the second part of that's the respectable part. The second part is just ego and lack of discipline. And that people would just start talking and keep talking. A year or 2 ago, actually it was a year ago, it was driving me nuts when the Republicans were filibustering. And they're doing this at 4 o'clock in the morning. They're giving half-hour-long speeches. That should be a capital offense, like in a couple different ways. Like, it's bad enough to speak for 10 minutes when you should have spoken for 2 at midnight. Speaking for half an hour at 4 in the morning, there's a layer of hell reserved for you.
I don't disagree, but when you're the minority and it's all you got, you give it a wing. When this thing was done, everybody knew all the bills and how they're coming about, to the point, by the way, when you vote for this, we're not even putting any amendments on. Forget your amendments unless 5 of us. It was a done deal. This thing should have taken, 13 bills, 14 bills? I don't know. 2 hours? Get up there, call the bill, everybody vote, go home. There was no reason for it except for the kabuki theater, like call it. Got to go to break. Got so much to talk about. He's Aric Putnam. He's Senator Putnam, a good friend of the program. Back after this.
Chanhassen Dinner Theaters brings you its most popular show of all time, Grease. You'll hear all your favorite hits from the Broadway musical and the movie. Join the whole gang at Rydell High. We'll sing, we'll dance, we'll bring you back to high school life in the 50s. Poodle skirts, bobby socks, the soda shop, and drive-in movies. Grease! It'll rock your socks off. Order your tickets today. Visit chanhassendt.com.
Everybody knows you have to have a guy in the auto repair business. If you want a car, you need to know Paul. Paul owns Jay's Auto Shop. I don't know. Ask him. Jay's Auto Shop's locally and veteran-owned. Paul's your guy in the car business. He'll fix just what needs fixing, make sure it's done right, and at a fair price. You want to know your car's being taken care of, take it to Paul at Jay's Auto Shop. 202 North Main Street, Blue Earth, 507-525-1052. 507-525-1052.
kidding me?
You know that comment you said to the radio? The thing that we got wrong?
Clearly, Brussels sprouts are the worst vegetable.
Call us and let the world know your thoughts. 855-257-7469. That's 855-ALS Show.
We've got him, Senator Aric Putnam, Senator, as we now dissect the $66 billion that was played with this year in the Senate and the House. I'd like to put out some winners and losers, if I might, and you tell me if I'm wrong. One of the biggest winners of all of this has to be the lobbyists, in my opinion, for the Met Council. And I don't know who they are. Somebody's lobbying for them. Because out of nowhere, we're talking this stuff, you and I, every week for I don't know how long, and out of nowhere, oh, by the way, we're going to take $93 million from the counties and give it to the Met Council. Had it been talked about, sir? I hadn't heard a thing in there. This was like blindsided, head jerking. What are you talking about? Where did that come from? Nice job, by the way, for their lobby group, how they got that through. How did that happen?
Well, so first thing is, I don't understand what the Met Council is. Fundamentally, I don't even know what it is. It's some kind of government entity where no one's elected, but it is, but it isn't. The legitimate argument that I've heard on this issue is that if you look at transportation funding throughout the state, that this was not supposed to go to the Met Council specifically. It was because of transit. Is that not enough money was going to transit relative to roads? Okay. Now, that being said, I think you're right. I think that there was a lot of political juice being played one way or the other. And as soon as that was announced, every county commissioner who even was in spitting distance of the cities lost their biscuits and was calling everybody else.
Oh, this was, and then you got to give the lobbyists for the counties, and everyone's got a different, I presume. These guys, that thing hit up, and within hours, I mean, it was on the X, it was on, people were flooding you guys, I got to imagine, with phone calls, and guess what? Out of there. We're not doing that stuff anymore. Smooth play, fun to watch from here. The only other one with the last 2 minutes, I don't know who the lobbyists for the e-bikes are. Bravo, my friends. Bravo. If there's anything, in my opinion, that we just don't need to do is be paying people to ride their electric bikes, get a bike with, wheels and pedal. But that's just me. But they found a way when we're $6 billion short coming up here in 2 years to make sure the money stays the same. We'll just dole it out different. We'll give it to poor people. How many poor people got $1,500 for a bike, sir? And then they can wait around to the end of the year when they get their dividend back. Good job by the e-bike people. Good job.
Well, let's go to your deeper issue here, because I want to avoid that one and not actually talk about it. And that's that.
If you're honest, don't want to talk about that, Al. Let's go on.
So, with the way this session ended, you're going to hear people talk about, we compromised, we worked together. That's all crap. That didn't happen. It's exactly as you're suggesting. It's, that's controversial. Let's pretend it's not there anymore. And even when you look at the budget bills that I had to negotiate with as chair of the Veterans Committee and as chair of the Ag Committee, those weren't compromised budgets. Those weren't collaborative budgets. Those were Solomon budgets. They're like, you get half, you get half. That's not truly working together and collaborating, getting stuff done. And that was the deeper core with the whole session this time. It was, you take your toys and go to your room. I'll take my toys, go to my room. And then we'll say we played together. And that's not really what happened.
So what changes it, sir, in the last minute? Is it when this election comes up, Minnesota has to decide? I don't know that I find this split government was any better than if one side runs or the other. Thank you. That's hard to say. I mean, and you look back, and from my side, when you all had the three stools, you guys got everything you wanted. We wouldn't mind having our shot at the three legs of the stool. I get, but Minnesota has to decide, because this was a clown show almost. I hate to say that about your work, but it was weird. It was really weird.
Go back to, though, and I made this point with you before, that, when we're talking about stool, and a lot of government is about stool, the individual legs of the stool aren't as coherent as we seem they are. So when you say, when you guys had all three legs of the stool, you got everything you wanted, I don't agree, because there was stuff that Democrats wanted that I didn't want, and there's stuff that I wanted that the Democrats didn't get.
They might have some cold runny eggs left over, maybe a sausage wing for you, my friend. I appreciate you doing this for me. We're out of time. Thanks for joining us, Aric.
Senator Putnam. See you next week.
Senator Aric Putnam on the Al Travis Show.